Yo, dog. So through the entire, let's just say Destiny 2, not even including Destiny 1, through the entire history of Destiny 2, there's been a lot of different PvP metas, and this is pretty much just going to be strictly talking about PvP because I think PvE for the most part is in a pretty good state. Things that needed buffed got it. I don't know exactly how they are playing out right now with like the buffs they did. I think it was pulses and scouts, maybe some other things. But what needs to happen with PvP is a lot of people have different opinions on it. And for me, one of the things at the front should be less of a focus on skill-based matchmaking. The game was at its, I don't know if it was its highest, but I recall seeing an article that was about Destiny 2's peak player count on Steam was like at its second highest when Bungie announced they were removing skill-based matchmaking in favor of connection-based, and it's so much more, like for me, it's not about I'm hopping on the game. For me, this is, just to put it into context, running Oversoul Edict with conditional finality on an Arc Titan is when I feel like I play at my best. This gameplay isn't necessarily the best example of this. This is when I was first starting to really use conditional finality. First time I had used Dune Marchers in quite some time. This was right after the Antaeus nerf. And the only reason I was running Antaeus is because everyone was running Antaeus and I was over it. I was just sick of it. So anyways, this is the build that I felt that, at least over the past like month or so, that I felt the best at playing, doing the best, all that. And I much prefer connection-based matchmaking. And maybe I don't have the best game or play that well or whatever, but I just can run whatever I want, can play however I want, can run wacky stuff that you might not even know what's good. And I think that's a big thing with people finding out what's good in the game because everyone's running the same shit every single match. So it's kind of hard to determine what is or isn't even good when everyone's always using the same stuff. And then we have things like Checkmate that get brought into the game, which I think definitely add some good qualities to the game for sure. But when you have something like Checkmate in Crucible Labs, and it is focused on connection-based matchmaking, it says like under it, matchmaking prefers similar connection, or I don't know exactly what it says, something like that. And then you have every other mode in the game prefers similar skill. I mean, it's not really a fair test to say, oh, I sure do love Checkmate. Well, if you like certain aspects of it, that's fine. But I think it's a harder way to test something when it's not presented the same way as other things in the game. Like, how can you say, oh, well, this is fantastic. I love this so much. Well, yeah, you're just playing easy lobbies. Everybody in there's bad. And then it's implemented into the rest of the game, and then people end up hating it because they didn't really love it in the first place. You know, it's things like that are alarming to me because if they make strong changes on anything with this game, it takes them such a long time to revert it or improve it or fix it, however you want to look at it. So that's the kind of stuff I really want to avoid with Destiny 2, if at all possible, is decision making that ends up not being good, that takes a long time to fix. Because I don't know if you pay attention to anything related to the game, but it's not in a great place when it comes to like in-house at Bungie with what is happening with people getting laid off, the projections for the pre-orders of Final Shape being extremely low, fears of a Sony takeover, which I don't know exactly what the full fears of something like that would be, because it seems like all of Sony's first-party studios are doing pretty well, like studios that they own. I don't know. I mean, I understand they want to remain independent, but I don't know exactly, like, it seems wild to me that Sony bought them for nearly $4 billion and they remained independent. I don't know, though. It's kind of an odd purchase choice, but I'm not exactly that familiar with how things generally work like that either. I guess they just wanted to buy something that they saw as a successful, like, game studio before Microsoft bought them. Because you got to be careful, or Microsoft will buy you, is what it seems like. So the whole focus for me is preventing things like that from happening, where you have a decision that gets made, and then it takes forever for Bungie to fix or revert it. And another thing is when the focus of the game is, instead of having fun or trying to just have a good match or have a fun time, whatever it might be, the focus becomes, how do I not get mad? How do I not get pissed every game? How do I avoid getting killed by the same guy that's a Strand Hunter with conditional, or an Antaeus Titan, or a Dawnblade that is like the most cracked movement in the game? What do I do to avoid these things happening? And for me, that's pretty much running the exact same build every single game. And I don't like that. And I don't... Like, it's such a tough position to be in, especially in things like Banner, where I'm trying to win as much as possible and get the hell out of there, right? Because most of the Banner games aren't a great time. If you play solo, you're almost guaranteed to lose. The more friends you play with the Fireteam matchmaking, the worse that is. So it's such a thing where you think you're playing a video game for fun, and once upon a time, with like the glory days of something like Call of Duty, where it was strictly, I mean, it got kind of pub stomp heavy depending on how good you were at the game, but it also was like strictly for fun. Like, for example, like something like Black Ops 3, I pretty confidently could run any assault rifle or submachine gun on that game and do pretty well. And it was, I forget the lobby balancing. It was connection based, and then they balanced the lobby. So you could end up having a game where you're going to completely demolish the enemy team, but the rest of your team is going to be is not going to be helping. So you're probably going to lose every match, but you're going to play very well. So it's kind of whatever, and you feel more, I don't know, it feels, that I would prefer that over skill-based to where it is in Destiny, where I get some of these games where I feel like I'll load into a game and I'm like, I'm going to try out this combined action with the Zen Moment Time Payload. And then very quickly I find out I'm not going to try out this combined action with Zen Moment Time Payload. I'm going to try out this same thing I've been running every game that I've played, and we're going to do it again, and then we're going to do it again, and then we're going to do it again. And I would like to not have to do it again. And I don't have to. I can play however I want, I guess, but it's, how do you want to play? Do you want to have fun, or do you want to win? And depending on the mode I'm playing, I want to win. Trials and Banner, I want to win. I want to win, I want to get my guns, I want to get out of there. Control with friends, I would like to just play the game and have fun, but I don't know if I'm allowed. I think I have been grounded. I think Bungie has grounded me, but I think they've grounded all of us. And I think we've grounded them. So that would be nice to see a more of a direction on having fun, which I guess the ball is in my court for finding ways to have fun at the end of the day. And I'll do better, I promise.